This is a Hasselblad. I've shot so many incredible people with this camera. I, it makes me crazy how one camera can actually propel an entire career. The late Corey Haim, Phil Collins, Roger Moore, Tom York from Radiohead, all of these people, I was lucky enough to shoot with this Hasselblad. This is a 1991 anniversary Hasselblad. I bought this camera brand new. You can see the anniversary edition plate right there. And this camera, I'd call it my most prized possession, honestly. You can imagine having a career where you're able to have one camera and photograph all of these incredible people. It's pretty crazy. The one person that I photographed that I really want to talk about on the top of this show, he's not in my portfolio, but he is in my first coffee table book. And the person that I'm talking about is Tony Bennett. This is my first coffee table book. It's called Positives. You can't get it, it's out of print, but we are going to reprint this book and do another one. This is my photo of the late Tony Bennett. Brings me great sadness when it comes to learning about Tony Bennett passing. And I don't have Tony Bennett on my website, so I am going to show you this shot of Tony while I tell you this story. I was in New York photographing Oscar Peterson and Legends of Jazz for the Globe and Mail newspaper. And I was there to shoot Oscar Peterson. And Tony Bennett's manager came out and said, Tony Bennett is about to come out. He's not feeling well. No photos. And this was a press day. So all of us were there during rehearsal. All of the photographers were there during rehearsal to photograph these beautiful legends of jazz. And I was there specifically to photograph Oscar Peterson because it was his 75th anniversary of making music. So I'm photographing Oscar, completely into it. Tony Bennett comes onto the stage. I give him a nod. I go back into photographing Oscar Peterson. And 5 minutes later, which absolutely blew my mind, 5 minutes later, I feel a tap on my shoulder. And I turn, and it's Tony Bennett. And Tony Bennett says to me, "Excuse me, son, would you like to take my picture?" And obviously, Mr. Bennett, it would be an honor to point my camera at you. So Tony Bennett allowed me to take photos of him. And the photo that is and was the keeper when Tony Bennett has just passed is this photo right here. So shout out to the original crooner, clean living, never drank alcohol, never smoked a cigarette. He was always a pleasure. Shout out to Tony Bennett. Rest in peace. All right, everybody, are you ready for a welcome here? Like I always give you guys the dopest welcomes. I hope you guys are having a good day. This is Ask a Photo Pro. Welcome, Julie, Vicky. Welcome, Gregory. Anybody else that is in chat not saying hi, welcome to another episode of Ask a Photo Pro. Today's a special one. We got a good one today. I'm going to talk to you about some advice that I don't give enough advice, but I mean, I do. I give a lot of advice, but in this way, giving advice in this format during this podcast, I think it's important. I'm going to give some key fundamental tips that I think that every photographer needs to know. I just did a mentorship with a photographer who I've known for almost over 10 years. I've done teaching for them, and meaning formerly high school teacher, formerly high school photography teacher. I used to lecture. What I'm realizing is photographers need a lot of help in very specific things. So today we're going to talk about some areas that I know that you watching at home might have issues with. I'm almost positive you're going to have issues with these things. and I'm going to talk you through it. If you guys have any questions, by the way, this is a live stream. I'm here to entertain you. I'm here to bring you those good vibes, of course, right on cue. And it's all about giving back. It's all about being a part of the community, the part of this photography community that you can talk to. I'm just like you, photographer trying to get better. I just have been doing it for 3 decades. I'm still trying to get better. All right. This first tip here, fundamental one, very, very key thing. Dramatic camera change. Choose to get better at one thing at a time. Simple. Choose to get better at one thing at a time. Here's the deal. You ask me, a 30-year pro, how do I get better? So then I look at your work and I see so many different things. I see lighting issues. I see distractions in the background. I see cropping issues. I see framing issues. There's so many different things that I see when I'm asked, what can I get better? What can I do to be a better photographer? So my first piece of advice, choose one thing to get better at every time. Every time you shoot, every time you go out, or do it on a monthly thing. Today, I'm going to get better at shooting portraits. That's it. That's all you're focusing on. And I would say continue this on, not for just a day or one session. I would continue this on for a month. All of these challenges, all of these assignments that I give you are all to make you a better photographer. So these pieces of it as advice, choose one thing to get better at a time. It is such an important one. When I first started photography, I wanted to get better at everything all at once. Camera settings, composition, focus, lighting. You want to know everything all at once, but you quickly learn that as you lean into trying to get better at this other thing, this thing slips. And then you come over here and you forgot about that thing. And then you're up here and this thing over here slips. So work on mastering one thing with photography at a time. When you focus on one aspect, here's an example, non-distracting backgrounds. You shoot a portrait, there's so much shit happening in the background. There's things growing out of people's heads, the background's busy. Focus on non-distracting backgrounds. Look at any magazine cover, look at any magazine editorial. You'll see how the backgrounds are complementary to the subject, not distracting. So, depth of field is a way that you can make your backgrounds less distracting. Also, scanning your frames before you shoot is a way that you can make your backgrounds less distracting. Practice that for a month. It's locked in. And then that it's locked in, you can now work on adding non-distracting backgrounds and trying to shoot those portraits under artificial light rather than natural light. Do you see what I'm saying? Work on one thing at a time. Let's talk about the importance of being organized. Oh my word. If I could talk about how many photographers that I do one-on-one training with that are actually organized, the answer is usually 0. Organize your files, organize your raw files, know where your TIFFs are, know where your website images are. I feel so strongly about how important it is to be organized that I'm actually going to start making videos specifically for photographers to be more organized, to be more on it with everything from where their portfolio images are, where their raw files are. I use a program, and this program has the stupidest name, but it's exactly what it is. It's called Offline Discs File Searcher. It's a $12 program. Dock any one of your hard drives or even your desktop drive. It indexes it in a second and tells you every single thing that's on it. So when you undock your hard drive and put in a new one, when you're trying to find that raw file, you can just go Offline Disk Searcher, open that app. I'm going to open it right here so you can see it. And you can see all the all the drives that I have indexed already. So I can just look here and I see all the video files. I can search and it will search every single drive that I've docked. Of course, you write the name of the drive on the drive itself, the physical drive, either with the label, and then you know what's on everything, and there's no stress about what data is on what drive. Index all your drives. It makes it so much easier to consolidate your best work. That's just organization 101. That program is called Offline Disk File Searcher. I will put a link for that. That's a Mac program that you can get from the Mac App Store. So develop a system for cataloging your photography, storing your images, backing up your pictures. Keep track of your photography and your stories in an organized manner. This makes you more efficient, it makes you happier, and it makes your whole photography life a better thing. If your desk and your computer life is chaos, your data is chaos, your life is probably chaos too. Yes or yes? So organize your computer life and your real life will feel more organized. All right, next one. This is super important, and another thing that people rarely think about. When you're going out to shoot photos, you're not trying to shoot a single image. You're trying to shoot a project or a story. You're trying to shoot a collection of images around the same topic, around the same thing. If you're shooting a portrait of someone, you're not shooting a single picture. You're shooting up close up, you're shooting 3/4, you're shooting full length, you're shooting them doing something where they're not paying attention to camera at a more candid level. Choosing to shoot people like that, choosing to shoot everything that way, what that does is it primes you for when you actually get assignment photography. No one's going to hire you for a single picture. They're going to hire you for a series of pictures. They're going to hire you to tell a story around a person, place, or thing. So the faster you get better at learning how to not be great at a one-off where your portfolio is a bunch of single images, you're trying to learn how to shoot series, because people who hire you want you to be able to tell a story with your photos. So learn how to tell a story with your photos now before it's critical. Tell stories, close, far, 3/4. Think about layouts. That's another thing that we're going to get into in another thing. You're trying to tell a compelling story, whether it's a photo essay, I'm reading from my notes now, whether it's for a photo essay, a thematic project, curating your work this way adds depth and emotion to your portfolio. I'm glad every once in a while I have to refer to my notes, so bear with me. All right. So next thing, super important. I'm a photographer. How do I get better at photography? Shoot pictures, shoot pictures, shoot pictures. Obviously. But let's talk about the concept of finding inspiration outside of photography. We're photographers, but you know that we don't learn everything just by dealing with making pictures. You know that we learn so much by looking at other mediums. We learn so much from looking at movies, looking at music videos, looking at commercials, looking at short films. Cinematography is such an incredible source of visual inspiration. Looking at how cinematographers are using lighting, how they're using cropping, how they're telling stories visually through a series of different vignettes, that's going to broaden your creative horizons and make you as a photographer think more like a storyteller with your photographs. Look for inspiration outside of photography. And speaking of photography inspiration and photography books are a gold mine of ideas, techniques. I am always looking at photography books. I would have more if I could afford to, and if I had more room for them. Photography books bring on like a desire. They ignite a desire and a fire in you that you have no idea. Photography books make you want to make your own photography book, like 100%. And they help you see your own personal work differently. You see your photography in a layout format, especially when you're looking at photography books. If you don't have a collection of photography books yet, go to a bookstore, find open photography books, and just spend the afternoon there immersing yourself in photographers that are actually still using the medium of print. Print is a killer. It's so amazing. Look at photography books. They're a goddamn goldmine. Another thing, I study layout. I touched on layout a little bit, but layout and design is so important. Whew, look at me getting all hot here. I have 2 fans blowing on me. Typography, text on pictures. Looking at that and studying it, it makes you such a better photographer. I do all of my own design. All my stream design, my Ask a Photo Pro logo, my behind the picture logo, all of this stuff is my own design, except for this dot matrix logo, who my mentor actually made that for me. I have a mentor. He's a art director, creative genius, and he hated my logo. So he worked on this logo for me for 2 months. So know that design and designers, they are art directors, and they also have a very unique vision of photography and how they see photography. Study design. Like, look at design. When you look at a magazine, what are you looking at? Are you just looking at the photography? Are you looking at how the text works with the pictures? Are you looking at how the thing is laid out? I also look at advertising. Advertising is the biggest bucks in photography. Look at advertising. Look at how the photography is done. Is it well executed? Is it poorly executed? Did they spend all their money on idea and not a lot of money on execution? Look at the best advertising that you see. Look at Apple. Look at Nike. How does it make you feel when you look at these single images with text? How can you take some of the inspiration that Nike does with their photography and implement Nike's mood and the energy that you get when you look at a Nike image? How can you bring that work? How can you bring that inspiration into your work? Another incredible, unconventional, but very powerful source of inspiration for me personally is people watching. I look at expressions, I look at gestures, all the little nuances that people do when they're moving through the street, and I look at like what makes each person unique, and if I was photographing that stranger, what would be the thing that I would compliment them on? You know, I think about that with everybody who, oh, they have great eyes. Oh my God, I like her hair. Oh, look at that guy's mohawk. Like, I'm trying to see what, if I had my camera and I was wanting to shoot a picture, what could I compliment them on that would stop them and allow me to make a photo? So another thing, welcome Will, by the way. Let's go, my brother. Let's go. The next thing, people watching, by the way, don't stop people watching. If you're a people photographer, a portrait photographer, people watching is part of your job. It really is. So lastly, I don't want you to forget about the power of writing. Okay, I started my photography blog almost 6 months ago, and I've been writing about photography every single week. And I can't tell you how beneficial it is to write about your photography. The power of sharing new skills and learning new ones. I did a photo walk, and I use Substack as a place for me to share photography that doesn't fit anywhere else, really. And I also give tips. I talk about time management. I talk about this is just all I do this as much for me as I do it for you. I hope you guys understand this. Like, this blog for me has been therapy. It's accountability. It's like, it's another thing that I'm dedicated to beyond this YouTube channel. It's just another thing that I obligate myself to do that forces me to show up, sit at my computer, and write about photography, and also shoot new work to actually talk about. So I'm constantly every week trying to be like, okay, what am I going to share with my mailing list people, which I have like almost 200 people on my mailing list that I've grown organically. I started on Substack with no people. So this is just, by the way, join my mailing list. The link is in the description of the video you're watching, blah, blah, blah. Writing about your photography is like, if someone asked you, hey, you're a photographer, what do you shoot? Like, can you answer? And if someone asks you, how do you shoot? Or why do you make pictures? Like, are you able to answer in a super articulate way that explains, like, not just I'm a photographer, but this is why I'm a photographer. This is what I'm trying to do with my photographs. This is the type of work that I want to do. This is my niche. And here's my portfolio. All right. So before we wrap up on this little bit of a section here, I want you guys to remember, you have to be super mindful about what you're consuming. While photography channels here on YouTube, and I'm very blessed and thankful that you're watching mine, photography channels on YouTube, they definitely can be informative, but you have to be wary of those that only showcase the photographer's work that you're watching, and they're not offering any kind of valuable learning opportunities for you. It's okay to learn by watching to a certain degree, but at the same point, the reason that I started this YouTube channel is to do more. I want to actually help you more, which is a great transition into what I'm about to do, which is some real photo reviews. Submitting your photos through my Discord is a great way to have a professional photographer actually break down your work in a way that you can't do on your own. None of your friends can do it. Your parents can't do it. Like, I've been doing this for 3 decades. So I'm going to see stuff in your photography that other people can't see. I'm going to help you with finding your niche. I'm going to help you with making your photographs better. And I'm going to help you on focusing on getting better at one thing at a time. So join the Discord, submit your photos, and I'm about to show you what a photo review looks like. I do have some incredible photographers who watch this program. I have photographers who submit often. I have photographers that submit sometimes, and I have new photographers that submit every week. So if you want to be one of those photographers, again, the Discord link is in the video description that you're watching. I am going to put my photo book back there. The most prized possession, the Hasselblad. We're going to put this back from the ledge, but still in a visible spot. Why don't we put it right here so where we can all see it, my baby. All right, let's get into some real photo reviews. Is Discord not open? Apologize for that. My Discord server is not open, but we open it right now. All right. By the way, guys, I am available for any of questions that you might have during the time that you are live. Will says he's not 100% on his business name for photography. It's just his name, but it's wordy. It sounds good spoken, but written, it looks like too much. I have some advice for you, Will. First of all, let me move windows here. First of all, Will, I'm going to tell you about a photographer who's in my chat right now. Her name is Julia Lagovska. Now, it took me a long time to remember how to pronounce, how to spell Lagobska. Julie is from the Ukraine, but you can imagine she's just like you. She doesn't want to have a business name, but she wants to have a name that people can remember and a website that people can find easily. So here's what I came up with for Julia. In the Ukraine, Julia is pronounced Yulia. Yulia, like a Y. So what I suggested for Yulia is to invent a new name. And that is Yulia instead of Julia. And her website is yuliaphoto.com. She still has here, you still see she shows yuliaphoto.com. She shows her name as Yulia Lagovska, and it makes it so much easier for people to actually, they just call her Yulia. So there's no real stress about it. Do you see? So I'm sure with you, Will, there might be a nickname, there might be something that people call you, but I hope that that answers your question. Julia Lagovska, a little hard, becomes Yulia Photo. You know what I mean? So that is one thing that you can do. Let's find your short form. Let's find that name that homies called you. My name's Steve Carty. People call me Carty. People have always called me Carty. So I go by Carty. Why? Because Steve is too common. Everybody's Steve. Your Bob, your buddy's Steve, your friend's Steve, your uncle's Steve. There's too many Steves. So I just go by Carty. And it's like the single name photographer, Rankin, Platon, Karsh, Avedon, Carty. Yes, I'm putting my name in the same class as these guys. I'm not quite in the same class as them, but the one name for a photographer, it's a thing. All right, so next, let's get into some photo reviews now that the Discord is open. Will, I hope that helped you. I'm having the best time, by the way, on this stream. I hope you guys are too. Let's see what you guys got for me in the Ask a Photo Pro submission. Oh boy, let's go. Cameron with some submissions. Let's go. So I did a photo walk. The first photo walk of the summer was a few weeks ago. It was a small turnout. By the way, if you're interested, if you're in Toronto, if you're interested in a photo walk, leave comments on my community page, leave comments. And by the way, join my mailing list because that's where the announcement goes out first. Mailing list. All right. First photography from Cameron, who shot us, the people from the photo walk, which was a great day. Let's get into Cameron's photo. This is really balanced, Cameron. I really like this. I really like this a lot. And the balance I'm speaking about is this, and then me offset here with also the, oops, that's a bad line, with also the gutter, meaning the center of the magazine, which drops right here. The center of the magazine is perfect. And where these heads are lined up is all very perfect. You have two people on one page here, and you have me isolated on my own page. This is a great shot. There's great contrast. I like how the sky is literally pointing you back to me. If you look at this mold, this building does not bother me. I feel like if that was out of the picture, it would be a little bit, it would feel empty up here. I like the leading line is really strong. There is a person in here, which you noticed sort of last minute. It's a strong photo. I'm happy with this photo, Cameron. You should be too. It's a great, and by the way, these are Cameron's first submissions. So Cameron, thank you for submitting, my guy. Great job. And thank you for coming to our first photo walk. That was super dope. Very good. All right, let's get into our next shot from Cameron. Geez, this guy shot some good flicks. Our next shot from Cameron is one of our other viewers. I mean, one of our other Photo Walk members, and the names are eluding me now because it's been a couple of weeks. This is a great shot. Great shot. I'm looking at a little bit about how this is going a little bit digital. I'm not sure if there's a treatment that you're putting on here, Cam, but I do see lots of grain in here. I also see a couple of hairs here that you could fix. I'm not sure if you're adding grain. Are you adding grain is my question. If you are, I would love to see this without the grain, because you see as it gets a little bigger, it looks a little noisy. When we see it at 100% even, we notice this a bit. I'd like you to shoot at the lowest ISO you can. I'm hoping that you're going to be in and around 200 for this particular thing. I don't bring my ISO any higher when I'm doing street photography than like 1,000. That's kind of like my limit. I shoot R5. I have pretty much grainless images, but still I try to shoot the lowest ISO the scene will allow. All right, let's get into another photo from Cameron. It is me talking. Jesus, look at this guy. I think you're putting a little bit too much treatment, Cameron. That's my next thing. I think that there's a little bit too much treatment, and I think that is in the contrast. If you look at my skin tone down here in this box and my skin tone up here, you can see I'm much darker here. So the skin tone, the exposure might also want to go up maybe 25%. I would say it's got to be a little bit brighter. You have great detail in the whites, which is great. I'm definitely talking. You can see I'm in the middle of a word. Yeah, I think just a little bit of exposure. Other than that, Cameron, this is a perfectly composed picture. The color is super poppy. Look at the fact that I'm wearing the yellow, which kicks off of this really nicely with the glasses. I'm not posing. You're catching me actually doing something. It's a really dope flick, and so far this one is my favorite. You get the smoke for this picture, Cameron, for sure. This is definitely, I mean, am I going to be vain because it's a photo of me? I'm saying it's my favorite picture so far. Let's look at what else Cameron's got for me. All right, this is Luis. I definitely remember Luis's name. I think also, Cam, there's a little bit too much treatment here. If I show you let's go to here. If I show you my pictures from there and like my picture from the exact same scene, where is he sitting on yeah, I have it here. So this is basically my picture from the same scene. And if I look at your photo and look at the contrast in here in his face versus here, and the exposure and just how clean it is here, I think that your processing is what I would like to work on. I think you're doing too much. I'm not sure if this was heavily underexposed. The only other reason that it would be like this is if it was under. That says under, sorry. Is if it was under and you're trying to recover this, but this skin tone I think is a little bit too, it's way too low, way too low. I would love to see this exposure or any alternate shots here, or without treatment at all. I think that many newer photographers try to have their look They want to have their look on, I want to put my look on the picture. 99% of the time, it's too much. 99% of the time, it's too much. What does your photography look like without the tricks, without the hooks, without the stuff that you're doing in post? Is it a strong photograph in black and white? Is it a strong photograph on its own? If it's not a strong photograph on its own, no amount of stuff you're doing in post-production are going to make it better. If it's a strong photograph on its own, the stuff you're doing in post-production are actually making it worse. So when you think about, I'm speaking to anybody who does a lot of heavy post to their work, how you check what the look and feel is today with photography, what the look and feel is today, what the trend is right now, is you look at Behance. And if you're looking at street photography, if you're shooting portraits, whatever it is that you're looking at, look at Behance. Go to Discover, go to Photography, and then just look at what skin tones look like. Like you can check and see, and you'll notice that the trend in skin tone, the trend is natural and no post-production. Like that's the trend. So when you're putting pictures out that are too posty, you're knowing that your pictures aren't standing out because of the post-production. They're standing out because it's the photography that we're trying to stand out. Like this is an ad for Red Bull, and you see the basketball, you see the detail, you see this top light. It's an incredibly powerful, compelling picture. But what you don't see is any trickies in post-production. You're not seeing post-production. You're just seeing the idea. I hope that helps, Cameron. Let's look at a couple of your last pictures. This one, again, is a great picture of me. Great picture of me, like in the moment. I really like it. I think the contrast might be a little bit too high, and it might be a little dark. I think you tend to go a little dark with your photos. I'd like you to kind of bring them up just a little bit. Again, let me look at, that would be one thing that I would want you to work on is just really nailing your exposure and not going too far in post. This one for me is the closest. This is the closest. It's great composed. It's a great cover. Julie, you should definitely be grabbing this picture. It's a great shot. She might be a little bit in between with her expression, but the location that I put her in is a great one. Let's go, Vicky. Thank you for that. I appreciate that. All right. So those are some photographs from Cameron. That gives you an idea as to when I am doing photo reviews, the kind of things that I'm looking for, the kind of things that I try to point out, and how I try to also draw comparisons so it's easier for you to understand what I'm talking about. You know, I honestly don't want anybody to feel picked on. I want everybody to feel like it's constructive, positive criticism, because that's what we all need. All right, this is from my actual brother, Les. My brother has been shooting photographs and submitting for the entire time that I've been doing this show, which is 2 years. This is one of your better ones, bro. I like this a lot. This is highly rated. I like this photo very much. I like the color. With this, you could almost use a little darker exposure, which is going to punch the saturation up. With your photograph, I would say yours need to be a little darker, not lighter. But the color, I like the offset. I know you were really quite close in here. Some of your focus is just a little off, but it's very, very close. I like the shallow depth of field, and I like the fact that you're not dropping this dead center. You're trying to offset it. I think that you could even afford to offset it a little more and back up a little more in order to like make it so where the gutter is, the center of the photograph doesn't drop right through the flower. See if you can place that flower like right here. So your eye leads through the picture. You know what I mean? Again, no less. I love it. Still, I love it. It's one of the best that you've done in a last little bit. So I'm happy. This is a strong shot. This is a strong shot of this cannabis leaf in your hand, my brother. The focus here, I think, is a little too close to your palm. Like you can see, the focus is here, and we want the focus to be like right here, I think, which is the biggest part of the leaves are here. So I think if you nailed the focus here, our eye would go here rather than here, which is basically leading us out of the photo. Up here is another very dominant part of the picture, which should also or could also be in focus. I like the fact that you're using shallow depth of field, which is giving you isolated focus. It's just we're missing where it is. So again, where you want the eye to go first is where you want the focus to be. In this particular thing, I think we want the eye to go dead center. So if you have a chance to shoot this again, I would try to just nail that focus right here, my big brother. All right, let's look at more pictures from Leslie. Hello. That's just a little attention reset in case you guys are falling asleep. All right, more food from my brother's garden. This is great, Les. I like this a lot. This is a good placement. It is kind of dead center. With this, I would love to see them down here. Just to bring your eye in just a bit. That would also move this tree just offset just a little bit. I love the leading line that's bringing you into here. This is really strong. And this little bit of white, I don't mind, but I feel like if you moved these over to like here, we'd see less of this white. We'd get way more of this green background. I still like the isolation. And the other thing that you could do is punch in a little bit on this, because you see the composition when we go like this, how now this is basically the composition that I want. I want it offset, and I want to be able to see. Also, you can see you missed the focus here. We're seeing this tack sharp and not here. Just make sure you're checking your frames after you shoot. Yeah, I want this focus to be super tight, but you're close. You're close. This is basically closer to the composition that I was hoping for, Les, but I love the fact that you're growing this amazing food in your backyard, and the fact that, oh, this is great. This is another really strong one. It's a little center biased, but again, the focus is nailed. You nailed the focus. Exposure-wise, it can be a touch darker. It could also be vertical. But again, this is really, really strong. Just a rule of thumb: if you have that that desire to drop your subject dead center, perhaps shoot vertical and back up a little bit. If you have the tendency to want to offset your subject one side or the other, make sure you're shooting horizontal. That's just like mentally what I think when I'm not sure whether to shoot horizontal or vertical. By the way, I always just shoot both. Always shoot both, horizontal and vertical, of any picture that you care about. It goes back to not shooting a single image, but shooting a series of image. Shooting both horizontal and vertical is part of it. Les, this is really great. Let's see. Yeah, that's your last pick. So for me, it's the first one and the last one. Like, that's your best. This is great. Really strong. I think it could be a touch darker. This is my second favorite. Really strong. I feel like if you made it a touch darker as well, it would actually make the saturation more saturated. This picture, I feel like, is most effective when it's punched in a little bit. And this picture, I feel like the focus was missed. It could be right about in the hand, my guy. I hope that helps, my big brother Les. For photographs from Opal Customs, let's go. All right. And some more. Sunflower. My brother's got all the submissions. And Warbucks. Let's go. This sunflower is great, Les. Really great. I think that what you ended up doing afterwards, I'm going to advise, I would really love this to be not cropped. Like, I want to see all of these petals, and then give the frame enough space. crop wise, that's my only complaint there. If it had a little bit more space, this is also shot, I think, with your Android, with your Samsung. You know, I love you when you shoot with your Canon because it just, your photography is just, you shoot so much better with that camera. There's a bee in here. This is a great one. Obviously, you didn't have your camera. You were just here trying to catch this. This is a great shot. I really like the punch-in crop here. And this one for me should be maybe horizontal. I could really see this picture being this way, you know, seeing more of it. I really want to see more of this flower. But again, the fact that you're getting this with your phone is impressive still. And the last one you punched in a little bit closer. All of these you shot vertically. Again, great, beautiful green bee that I wouldn't get so close to because I'm allergic. But great shot, Les. Great shot. Great shot. You also have to make sure your lens is clean. Up here, that haze that you're seeing is because there's a fingerprint on your lens. That often happens with camera phones. All right. That is some photography from my brother. And we got one more. He says, I posted early shoots of this tree. I asked what it was, and he said it's alderberry. Alderberry. This is a great one. Beautiful, Les. Alderberries. This is also a favorite. It's a great shot, Les. Thank you. My brother submitting. My brother from the same mother. All right. Les, thank you for submitting. If I had to vote, my favorite of all the, you posted like 10. It's tricky. It goes between the elderberries and this photo. I'm going to give it to this one, Les. I think this one's your best photo. For sure. Thank you for submitting, my guy. I appreciate you. All right, let's get into Alice has some photography to submit. Alice says, I didn't get self-portraits, but I did hang out with frogs. Cute. Alice, this is really great. Really strong, large, high-quality pictures. Really great shallow depth of field. Look at how you're able to see through the water. This is really great. The fact that you can see through the water and that refraction. I really like the tonal range. And I love how minimal this is. And you also push this frog a little bit that way so the head isn't dead straight because the gutter of this, the gutter is right here-ish. Oh my goodness me. My pen is on its last legs, clearly. So the gutter is about here. So yes, you're totally good. I really like this composition a lot. Okay, let's look at another one. Let's look at another one from Alice. Number 2. This is even better. Wow, and you caught the mosquito. Wow, Alice. Look at this detail of the mosquito. So crazy. This mosquito's about to get dead. So great, Alice. So great. So great. The sharpness, this depth of field back here. I don't know what f-stop you're shooting at, but it's beautiful. I know it's not f8. I wanted to write f-stop, but I wrote f8. 8s are just so fun to write. Alice, amazing. 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 Let's look at number 3. Great tone in this one too. Really strong. Really strong. Let's go. Gregory said he would buy that print immediately, Alice. Let's get that up on Etsy instantly. Julie said she was about to drop some photos, but she changed her mind she changed her mind last minute. Come on now, Julie. Put up what you got. This is great, Alice. I really love this. This should be in your Etsy store. For sure. Should be in your Etsy store. Definitely. And Vicky.alice.com. Her last picture is a vertical. Well done. Well done. Look at that. The frog hits the cover of Behind the Picture magazine. That's great, Alice. Really, really strong. And I love how you shot this. It's got multiple crop options. Vicky, nice one. Really, really well done. I mean, favorites? Come on. Don't make me do this. Don't make me do this. Don't make me do this. The favorite. Jeez, it's hard. It's really hard, Vicky, honestly. Okay, I'm gonna give it to this. This to me is my favorite. I'm gonna call this one your best photo, but there's too many for me to be able to say that it's definitely this one, but this is amazing. You should be thrilled, Vicky. You should be goddamn thrilled with this set. Wow. Really great. Really great. Hope you guys agree. That is Vicky from the middle of Pennsylvania. Oh my God, the guy we haven't seen for so long, Dr. Warbucks. So Jay says, self-portraits, nothing really spectacular, but he got a chance to shoot these just so we remember his face. This is really nice work, Jay. Nice work. I really like the sharpness here. This is really strong. Again, great, great, great sense of humor, Jay. I love this a lot. This is, no strings attached. I love this picture, Jay, a lot. This is really fantastic. Yo, hit the subscribe button if you like this picture of Jay, if you agree that it's super dope. I feel the pain in your face in this photo, Jay. I feel the pain in the face in this, Jay. This is such an editorial picture. I'm so glad that you shot some self-portraits. This is really fantastic. And again, just another heart-stopping banger. Definitely. Definitely. Very happy with this, Jay. You should be as well. And our last photo from Jay. This is great. Great. It's hard to say what my favorite one is, to be honest. Of these three, it's hard to say. One. This is one. Yeah, I'm for sure saying the second one. This is my favorite. I think that this is so strong. For me, I'll say this is your best photo, Jay. I think it's the smoke for sure. Very happy, man. Very happy. Very great. Should be very thrilled with this stuff, Jay. It's fantastic. Fantastic. We got some pictures from Willie. Some selfies from my brother. We're going to go through quickly. Les has submitted lots this week. Handsome fellow, yeah? He looks just like me, this guy. Big brother Les. Don't we look alike? Les is blowing that beard out. Leslie, thank you for sharing, my guy. I appreciate you. All right, we got Willie in chat and new to submitting. Willie, I'm glad you're here and I'm glad you're submitting. Nothing makes me happier than seeing photographers submit new work. Willie says, couple shoot. These two are my favorite. Nice movement and good feelings in it. This first one, Willie, I feel like we're missing our man who is holding on to her. I definitely know that this was a spontaneous movement that you weren't expecting, which is why he's not framed. This is one of those shots where you get them to do it again and you rotate yourself that way at the same time as backing up. Oh my God, this pen. At the same time as backing up, so you actually have enough space to catch this picture. If you shoot a shot like this that you like, you look at you know clearly you only got her, you didn't get him, you need to do it again. There's no such thing as one shot, one kill. You're trying to shoot hundreds of photos of the same idea in order to get perfect photography. especially when you're shooting quote unquote lifestyle. You need to shoot lots of pictures to make sure the framing is right, to make sure that everything is correct. I'm also noticing that you're shooting this with um, a wide angle, possibly a zoom lens. Zoom, likely. I'm gonna type a zoom lens, likely. What happens with zoom lenses is you stand in one spot and you just do that with your lens and you keep shooting. And there's no consciousness about focal length. There's no consciousness about like the fact that, of course, 24 to 70. So you were standing there and you just zoomed to 24. You're shooting vertical. When you shoot vertical, wide angle, no lines can be straight. Do you see how bent? Like, do you see how over here your lines are here, but over here on the same surface, they're this way? So your lines are basically doing this. It's impossible. Like, if you look at down the wall, look when you look your eye down the wall, does it not look like the buildings are leaning in? It's because of the distortion that happens with a 24 millimeter lens when you hold it vertical. You see what I'm saying? You don't shoot vertical with a wide angle lens. Wide angle is made for landscape. So when you're shooting people, you shoot with 50 millimeter, which is a normal lens, or longer. So shooting a couple, 24 to 70, you can't, Will, you can't put this poor black man that you cropped out back into the photo. He's part of the photo. You cut him out. That picture is called not a picture. It's just a mistake, which is why we shoot so many, which is why we click and check and be like, okay, I like that idea. Let me execute that idea again until we got it. So you keep having her swing like that until you have both of them in the shot. And shooting with a 24 to 70, trying to be a people photographer, you need a 50. People photographer, 50, 85, 100, 135. Anything less than 50 is wide angle, which is fine, but you have to hold the camera this way. You have to hold the camera horizontal, which is why street photographers shoot landscape. It's distortion. There's no distortion this way when you hold the camera like this. When you hold the camera like this, the distortion goes this way. It bends in a swoop, which is why your lines fall like that. So don't try to recover this photo, please, because it's not a photo. It's a mistake. That's what if you're trying to be a better photographer, first of all, you can't have half of one person in this picture and try to think that this is this is not a finished picture. So there's no recovery. It's just a no-go. We just go on to the, you just make better photos. That's why you don't shoot one, you shoot 100 of the same idea. And that's why you don't shoot with a 24 to 70, because a 24-70 makes you lazy. Because you just do this. Oh, now everything's in the picture. Oh, now I'm pushed in. You shoot with a 50, guess what? When you want to get closer, you move your feet. When you want to get further, you back up. Guess what happens then? The distortion of the lens, nothing changes. Guess what else with a 50? You can shoot vertical, horizontal, nothing changes. There's no distortion. So, yeah. This picture, let it go. Will, let it go. Let it go. Okay. Let it go. It's not a finished picture. It's not a final. It's forgettable. Just let it go. This picture of the two of them kissing, way better. Way better. But let's get into this. Great moment, right? Great moment. But why are they here in front of the window? Meaning this moment is amazing, but out of focus, right? So when you look at it close up, you can see that that's out of focus. It's a little noisy, which means the ISO is too high. My pen's not working very well. The ISO is too high. The ISO is like 1,000 or more, or 2,000. Like on a sunny day, you don't need ISO that high because it's a sunny day. Sunny day, ISO 200, ISO 100. You added grain in post. That's using post-production tricks to try to save a photo that the essential elements of the photo aren't there. Do you know what I mean? It's like you have a canvas. It's not a clean canvas, and you're trying to paint a picture over top of it. Start with a clean canvas. Here's an example. You're trying to shoot and bring this couple to life, right? You're trying to bring this couple to life. What's the first thing you think about? First thing, where am I going to shoot them so the background doesn't fight with them? Where am I going to take them? So what's behind them, and you remember early on in this episode, I talked about things that photographers need to work on. I talked about distracting backgrounds. The most important thing in the photograph is where the person is. It's the most important thing. So if I show you just some examples, I guess, of my editorial pictures, let me just show you a couple of pictures from my portfolio, just so you see like what a working photographer, what the backgrounds look like. No background. There's no background. Shot on black. It's a single clean background. See just the subject. No background. Shot on black. See just the subject. No background. Shot on white. See just the subject. Red background. White background. Sky background. Textured bottom. You see just the shoes and the tracksuit. White background. You see just the subject. See just the subject. The background is pulled way back and doesn't contrast with the helmet or with his outfit. Black background. Background, repetitive, textured, tonally matches her pants, matches her skin tone. You see her, you don't see the background. You just see a photograph. So when you're putting a subject in a scene that there's all kinds of shit happening, like that's not a place to make photos. Even this photo, which is super busy, red gel, the computer screen's placed perfectly. He fits exactly through. So he's wearing blue, contrast to the red. So you just see him. So there's like every single thing is deliberate. Look at this background. Textured, non-distracting, complementary to his black skin. So when you're shooting a couple, you have to take them away from a background. You need to put them in a park where the background is out of focus. It's behind them. So you can just isolate them. You don't shoot them on the street in front of a window. So that's just when you're asking how to make these photos better. It's like the added grain, it's trying to hide the out of focus, but the photo's out of focus, which means, hey, Brett, by the way, glad you're here. Glad you're here. Here's a secret. 50 millimeter lens, okay? Inside this lens, there are 6 pieces of glass. 6, okay? 6. Look. Look at this. This is a $2,000 50 millimeter lens. Look at how bright this lens is. It's tack sharp. Your 24 to 70 has, I want you to listen, has 16 elements of glass. Between 16 and 22 pieces of glass inside that tube, because they're trying to put 4 lenses in one. So it's why zoom lenses are slower. That's why they're less expensive, because they're not really for professionals. If you look inside my bag, I have 7 lenses. I have a 16. I have a 50. I have an 85. I have a 100. I have a 135. They're all primes. And my photography, it's tack sharp, because I don't want extra glass in here that's blocking my thing. Willie, I would be happy to comb through your Instagram and give you a critique if you join my mentorship program. That's what I do for photographers, is help them go through all of this stuff. But I have to be 100% honest. There are too many elements wrong with that photo. There's too many elements for you to save it. There's one element that's working. One element. The kiss. The light. Two elements. The kiss and the light. But all you need to do is move them from seeing the window behind. If you take 2 steps to the right, you now see the sidewalk. Well, how do I know that? Because I see the sidewalk right here, right? If you take 2 steps to the right, you have leading line and beautiful backlight without seeing the building. Do you know what I mean? I can't be there to shoot you. I can't be there to take the photos for you, Will. All I can do is try to coach the next thing, which is so frustrating. You're shooting with this zoom lens. What a zoom lens gives you is infinite depth of field. Zoom lenses give infinite depth of field, even if you're shooting as wide open as the aperture as you have, because it has 75 pieces of glass in there that are all focused through this super small aperture, which is why you don't get bokeh unless you're shooting with the 70 to 200. Then you'll get bokeh, but with the 24 to 70, you see everything. So here's what you're doing. Number one, you're shooting wide angle, vertical. Guess what else is wide angle vertical? Guess what else is wide angle vertical? Your fucking iPhone. So you're taking your pro camera and you're turning it to 70, which is exactly the, 24, which is exactly the lens when you go to photo and you look at through your camera. This isn't a 50. This is a 24 millimeter lens. So you're basically making your pro DSLR by taking a wide angle lens, turning it this way and shooting without being conscious of your backgrounds. You're making your pro photography look like an iPhone. You know what I mean? Which what we're trying to do is exactly the opposite. Trying to make our pro photography look like pro photography. Stop with the distracting backgrounds, shoot more photos, and really care about where you're putting your subjects that you care so about to take their photo. You're just going, yeah, okay, here, stand here, click, click, click. That's not caring about the photo. That's just taking a picture here. Find a background. I see the blue here, which is definitely complementary, but that's the only thing that's matching is your jeans, which is below the waist, where all the action is happening above the waist. Once you get here, we have this pole, which is distracting, this thing, the non-crooked lines, this line going this way, this line going this way because you're shooting wide angle, the sky up here, the building across the street. It's just too busy. I'm not even seeing his shirt that says be loved or whatever. I'm not even seeing her freckles and how cute she is because I'm distracted. And lastly, your picture's not in focus. The number one thing as a photographer, you're trying to be a photographer, make sure this shit is tack sharp, because somebody like me is going to call you out. Seriously, I'm going to call you out. And also look at what your competition's work looks like. I'm your competition. Okay. I'm your competition. Light, idea, clothing, styling, attitude, all this stuff. And I've been doing it for 30 years. So you have to know when it comes to professional photography, you have to really, bro, like, come on. You know what I mean? I want, like, my assistant. This is my assistant. Jay's been my assistant for 4 years. Look at his work. Look at the background. Look at it as a cover. Boom, it's a cover. There's no distractions. Guess what you see? You see him. You want to shoot this couple and you want to do them a great service, put them against a white wall. Shoot them just against a white wall with one arm around each other. You know what I mean? And they're just hanging there. And now guess what? You just see them. You literally just see them. That is what I call a photo review, Will. Does that help you? Do you see why I'm actually so dedicated to trying to help photographers just flip their perspective. Look at, dude, I'm sweating like I'm goddamn on trial. Where's my thing? Here it is. My word. Guys, I think that that is a pretty good way to wrap up today's episode. We do have a few more shots from Willie. Julie, too late in the game for me to review these photos now. Willie, this is the photography that is the starting point. This shot in the studio, it has inspired light. This is you too, right? By the way, Garcia, welcome. Sergio. Okay, I got to stop the presses. Honestly. Sergio, welcome. Willie, this is your photography? Yes or yes? This is your pictures, yes? Right? But then, like, you also are submitting this photography in studio, inspired, shot with the right lens, composed properly. Like, what in the actual fuck would you be asking me for help with photos that are clearly, like, either shot a long time ago, like 2 years ago before, or like not shot with the same kind of seriousness, deliberateness, style as this is. Like this is a jumping off point. Do you know what? Look, you're doing everything that I said to do in this other picture, in this non-distracting background, inspired light, inspired pose, centered properly, looks like a goddamn cover. Willie, come on now. Like, you know this. You don't need me to tell you like how amazing this photography is compared to that stuff in the street. And if you're capable of doing this, motherfucker, that shit, I should never see that from you. Never. This is tight. It's in focus. It's short with the right lens. Like, my word, you're so talented. Like, this is what I want to see. Like, listen, doesn't matter. You can still, oh my God, did you not see my reel like that talks about stop making excuses? You don't need professional studio equipment in order to shoot professional level work. You just need to care about your location. The photographer might have set this up for you. Cool. You can do the same elements from this outside. I promise you can. I promise. Dude, yes, like Casper, I get so passionate about this because like photographers need it. You guys, you need it. You need somebody to care. You know, you need somebody to care. Like that's the thing that's different on other channels on YouTube. They don't fucking care about you. You're just watch time. You're just watch time. I did my YouTube thing completely different. I made no money for 2 years trying to build this free education program. And for the people who have like jumped on and wanted more help and have gone into my mentorship program, I helped them. And the work changes. Look at Vicky's frog photos. Like her frog photos were fucking National Geographic level. And to see her rise in like this much time because she threw me a couple of $100 to have one-on-one time. Come on. You guys pay that. You guys spend that on dinner. You know what I mean? But for your own photography career, you're just going to hack at it for years, I invested in photography school. I started my photography education when I was 14. I shot my first cover when I was 21. I had my first studio when I was 21. That was 30 fucking 1 years ago. So like, I know how to start. I know how to get started. But what I see today is, I hate to be so blatant, but I see lazy. People just watch YouTube. They just sit there. I had somebody say this to me. They wanted to know if they joined my mentorship program, what was the guarantee? What guarantee could I give them that they were going to get a job? What was my guarantee? I'm like, I don't even know if you're good. I don't know if you're going to do the work. I can't do the work for you, you know? And no YouTuber has the answers for you to be like, oh, just watch this video and you're going to be a professional photographer. It's like, Fuck no. It's hard work. So what I try to do is help you like at the fundamental level, because people don't have a foundation. They buy, they have money, they buy, they're like, I'm a photographer now. I have a camera. I'm a photographer because I can go click and I can see a photo here. Yo, I figured that shit out when I was 14. Like, now people are doing it because they see the photo on the back of the thing. They don't have to do any developing. And it's like, I'm a photographer now with no idea, no vision, no clue. So that's what I try to do. I try to bring ideas, visions, and a fucking clue. And I actually talk to you. I'm here in chat, live, reading your comments, encouraging Gregory to keep blogging, because I haven't seen a blog post up in a minute. Like Malcolm, who's running a goddamn coffee shop that he's also trying at the same time that he owns, that he's also trying to get his photography business. Vicky, Pennsylvania, mentorship program. Julia from Yugoslavia. I mean, from Yugoslavia doesn't exist anymore. From the Ukraine. She's here. She's about to go back. She's just about to get her citizenship. Sergio Garcia, one of the most amazing, conceptual, frightening photographers that you've ever seen. That is the nicest, warmest, most loving guy. His favorite time of the year, Halloween. That's when his work sings. Every single person who watches, if you submit photos, I know you. I know where you're from. I know what you like. I know what your passion is. And I know how to help you directly get better at photography. And I'm doing this currently with like 80 people. I can't make people watch. Swear to God, I can't make you guys watch. But if you do watch, and if you check these live streams, I'm going to fucking help you guys be better photographers. Hope you guys would enjoy this passionate episode. And by the way, if you have helped me at all by watching any of my live streams, watching any of my past live streams, watching any of my playlists to help me get more watch time so I can actually monetize this channel, I'm doing this 100% for free and have been for 2 years. I'll say again, if you've been one of those people who've been playing my playlist while you sleep, playing my playlist at home while you're at work, if you've been one of those people to help me get to this finish line, look at me sweating, how fucking excited I am right now. If you've been one of those people, I thank you so much, because look what you've done. Look where we are. I am 76 hours away from the hardest grind I've ever done in my life. In case you were wondering, is it working? Me watching Carty's videos? Oh my God, look at this. 75 I will hit this by the end of the goddamn week. Keep doing what you're doing. Once this hits 4,000 hours, I am going to have the best celebration stream. I have so many plans for this channel. And honestly, the perks that I'm going to give if you choose to subscribe to my channel at the low price of $5 a month. If you subscribe to this channel, I'm going to be giving you guys commercial-free videos the day before they come out to the rest of the public. You'll be able to see my videos before they get released to YouTube. There's going to be members-only live streams, and you might actually have to be a member in order for me to review your photos. Those are things that are coming up. I do need to make the people who watch this show, submit, value it. I feel like you will value my content more if my live streams might be members only. I don't know. There's plans, but we're going to do a whole celebration stream. I'm going to talk to you guys about it. I'm going to hear so many feedback points from you about what I'm wanting to do with this channel going forward. I've been mapping it out. I'm very excited. Thank you so very much for watching. Know this, you get better every time you show up and look through that camera. But don't photograph like you're pissing in the wind. There is a reason for making a photograph. Your subject is the star. Stop it with the just putting your people everywhere or anywhere. Check your frames. Be non-distracting. I'm going to do more content that helps you guys about just this. I'm going to make more content on file organization because I know you guys are all sucking with organization. Many of you are sucking with your organization of how you control your files. I'm going to make sure that my shit is nice and tight, and then I'm going to teach you how I did it. Hope you guys enjoyed today's passionate, lengthy stream. I love you all. Make sure you call your mom. Talk to you soon. Appreciate you all for watching. You're very welcome, everybody. Go make photos. I'm amped up. You guys better be amped up too. Let's go, Will. Non-distracting backgrounds, baby. Show me that you can do it. Go find me a clean white wall and shoot some portraits. Watch another video. See me freak out in that one too. Love you guys.